Welcome to the Filmistines, the podcast where we discuss all things movies. Join us as we dive deep into the latest releases, revisit classic films, and explore the art of cinema. Whether you're a film fanatic or just love a good flick, we've got you covered. From Hollywood blockbusters to indie gems, we'll be breaking down the storytelling, cinematography, and everything in between. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready for some cinematic magic. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/filmistines. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $20 tier grants the ability to request films for future episodes. This is the Filmistines, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience. And we're back with a new episode of the Filmistines. I am Serpico. I don't introduce myself normally because I forget. And I'm joined today by the Prince of Darkness, Lucy.
Thank you.
And you probably already know what today's episode is on because you saw the title.
Yep.
We're talking about Renfield today. I'm excited to talk about this today because I was very excited to see this movie. But I'm not very excited about what I saw.
You're not very excited about what you saw.
No, this movie's kind of shit. This movie kind of sucks.
Okay.
This movie's not very good.
All right.
From almost every angle.
Wow.
This movie's just another sore spot on Nic Cage. You know, I gotta appreciate the him giving it all, of course. You know, even like in Willy's Wonderland, that movie's got some badass pieces in it, but it just falls apart. That movie, you know, just like this, has fallen apart. It seems. What do you say?
That's my favorite Nic Cage movie.
Willy's Wonderland.
So far, yeah. Willy's Wonderland.
What about Pig?
Maybe I'd have to see them next to each other, but
I mean, Willy's Wonderland would. I
liked Willy's Wonderland.
That movie would be awesome if it wasn't focused on that girl. I'd rather there be such little dialogue. It would have been awesome. Him and the cop, or the mayor or whoever.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. Close. It's close, but
that's why I didn't know you liked that movie so much.
I liked it.
Yeah, Renfield is probably the biggest disappointment so far this year. Not that I'm super anticipating.
Shit.
I'm not super excited about very much, especially movie wise. I usually keep my expectations in check, and I didn't expect this to be very good, but I am still very disappointed. I was disappointed.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think of it?
I liked it for what it was. You know, comedy, horror, throw in a little bit of action. But I mean, for that, I liked it a lot. I did think it was a bit, maybe too much, or maybe... So for what the movie was, I liked it a lot. You know, I thought the comedy was good where it needed to be. I liked the horror where it needed to be. I liked all the action. I'm a big action movie person. Even a movie could be all action and I would still love it.
Transformers.
Yeah, exactly. So for what it was, I thought it was a great film. Now, for my expectations...
What do you expect?
I expected better.
You expected better. Did you expect the route it took?
No.
Did you expect the B plot that happened?
That's the worst part of it. The B plot.
It's borderline the A plot. It competes with it big time, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
I agree. There was not enough.
There wasn't enough of Renfield, you know, being this abused person at home, you know.
Yeah.
If they would have just focused on that a little more,
yep,
I would have really liked this movie. When he was in those AA meetings, it was just awesome, you know. And they knew that obviously because of the trailer, right? They put the best part in the movie in the trailer.
Yes,
this movie should have been a 20-minute short, probably.
And it would have
circled around the AA meeting kind of thing and Renfield's abuse with Dracula, because of that premise is bulletproof. That premise is so good. And then we got caught up in the New Orleans. I don't know how I just said that. The New Orleans mafia. We got caught up with the corrupt police. We got caught up in this love
Yeah,
between
weird.
Renfield and this this Frank Serpico cop in New Orleans that is not conforming to the New Orleans mob. Hated it. I hated that.
I was okay with that. I was okay with, the mob being introduced because they were a little bit not necessary, but they were part of Dracula's plan, in the end there.
Yeah.
So okay, I can see that. But the especially the romance that they tried to force here. These actors didn't have a chemistry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how old these people are.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I just feel like it just wasn't clicking. And part of me is like, okay, is that like a whole deal where, he's a codependent? So here's this girl that stood up for herself and he's just gonna latch onto that. Like, is this what this is this what I'm supposed to be getting from this? Because I can see it, but it's not obvious and it's not flowing like it should be if that's what you're trying to get me to believe here. And the romance was the worst for me.
Yeah, well
and
said.
then, I mean, what? Her dad? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you trying to tell me now? I don't care. I don't care about her dad. I don't care she don't talk to her sister. I don't care. What? You know what I'm saying? Like,
those were, especially the sister point, that's one of those bad MacGuffins, That's when you call that MacGuffin out and call it a MacGuffin. That kind of shit. They place this little pawn here to, like, help make a coherent story, and it just... You're not fooling anyone. Like, I don't...
Yeah, I mean, okay, you need the sister to bring her back with Dracula's blood. You didn't need that. You could have used anything. You could have used anybody in that. You already used it with Renfield when she cut his toe and he's bleeding on top of him when they're up in the air. And she, like, stabs his foot and Dracula's toe starts bleeding on top of Renfield. You already used the blood bit. Why do we need the sister? Renfield's already going to try to save whoever he needs to save. Okay, I guess it moved it along in a bit, but it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was pointless.
So are you going to say that the highs were just so high that it kind of balances out for an enjoyable time?
For me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite scene or favorite part?
I don't know if I had a favorite scene. Okay, I did have a favorite scene. And it was just hilarious. And I don't know why it made me laugh so much, but it was when Dracula had captured what's his name? Ted Lobo, the son of the mafia lady. And they were in his lair and he's like, "Who sent you? The church."
Oh, that was funny.
That was hilarious.
Funny. Yeah.
I think that was my favorite part.
Yeah.
But
I will say everything that come out of Nic Cage's mouth is gold.
Yes, agreed.
And a lot of what Nicholas Hoult has to say, like I said, Nicholas Holt's character, Renfield, a lot of what he has to say is really good too, especially at the AA meeting, especially in front of Dracula, We just, that B-plot almost, I don't even know if I can call it a B-plot, because it became the main ordeal pretty much. It's what inspired Renfield.
Yeah.
And then we had this almost tertiary kind of C-plot with Dracula hooking up with the New Orleans mob.
Oh, yeah.
It's
yeah.
Like, oh my God. It's so messy.
Yeah. Yes.
Like the gore.
It was like chaotic.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes me want to talk about the editing. The editing in this movie sucked.
Well, before we talk about the editing, to kind of piggy off of what you said, Dracula was like the best part. I mean, his costume, his performance, and most of his performances were with Renfield, and both of them together, it was awesome.
Yep. They had interesting chemistry. They had something, they were good.
Yeah.
They were good together.
Yeah, they really were. And Dracula's costume, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and his makeup, Nic Cage looks awesome as Dracula.
I loved how throughout the movie he, like, he's supposed to be healing from this, like, bad incident. I love.
He's like, he's this decrepit old thing, and just not in his prime. I love that. I love that.
But I love how they are healing him with every scene, even though we get so little of him. Every scene we get him in,
that's good storytelling.
His face is healing, like physically his face is healing.
Yeah, I
and
love
I'm
that
like,
they're
oh
in
my
a
God.
hospital too, an abandoned hospital.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good storytelling. That's undeniably very excellent texture building or world building and storytelling. And my favorite mise-en-scène or whatever kind of ordeal would be, in his lair with all the blood bags hooked up. It's just like, it's awesome.
Yes,
it's awesome.
I was going to talk about, some of these sets and how awesome some of these sets were. And that's probably one of my favorites. One of my favorite throne chairs kind of thing going on there. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and it was so cool seeing all those blood transfusion bags just hanging there.
Yeah.
And I think my second favorite chair ever is the one from,
oh my God,
what's it called? Crimes of the Future.
Crimes of the Future.
Yeah.
That's your favorite chair?
That's my favorite chair. These two are great chairs. I don't know. I loved it.
Cinematic universe of chairs. that room reminded me of something in Dr. Satan's lab in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay.
So just really like absurd and out there, just that was awesome. That was so metal.
Yes.
The lighting was great, color correction, everything. Almost everything that have to do with Dracula is awesome in this movie, and I just wish we could have gotten more of Renfield and Dracula.
Yeah.
And less of Renfield and his love interest. I mean, if the movie completely focused around Renfield's codependency problem, that would have been sick.
Yes.
That would have been sick. They could kind of have this absurdist element still and be funny, but just completely around that. No love interest. We're dealing with someone who's completely damaged.
He's
to the
healing.
core.
Yes, he's healing.
And maybe we could have that duality happening where he's healing and he's also healing Dracula. Good storytelling, having these both people healing. Then, and maybe I don't know, maybe he dies at the end or something by Dracula. That would be be funny if we have this, that's not the movie is, but
yeah,
I could see that working so well. Going to these AA meetings and then he goes there once, twice, and you notice then the third time Dracula gets involved and then the bad things happen.
Which is what the trailer
I guess that's
leads
probably my
us to
favorite
believe.
Scene. That's probably my favorite scene is that one.
The AA meeting and
the time Dracula walks in or gets invited in.
He got invited in.
It's awesome.
I love that.
It's awesome. And then I love that Renfield had that mat outside of his apartment said, "Welcome, come on in." It's just it can be even a written invitation. He's just waiting Dracula's just waiting in the kitchen. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Him sitting there in that room is just great. They had these great ideas and had no idea where to take it, I guess. I feel like, I don't know, when you introduce a mob, I feel like unless the movie's about the mob, that's just a mark of not knowing where to take things.
That's like the Jaws book. That's like, oh, here's the mob that was controlling the mayor. What? Excuse me?
I don't know. What is that? Why is that
a thing?
A thing that happens in...
I don't know why that's a thing.
I mean, I get they didn't want to make a short film, which maybe that part of the problem.
Why not?
Yeah, maybe we need to destigmatize short films into being, highly appreciated. Because I feel like they are kind of... No one watches short films except people who go to the Cannes Festival and is on YouTube a lot or something. But
yeah, I mean, they could have taken the codependency, narcissistic thing. They could have made a whole movie out of that.
And that would have been a tough topic just because that would have been very, very, very real and which would have been cool. Would have been so cool. I mean, I hate to go on and on about something that's not there.
Yeah.
But the potential is just so good. And because they were, and we were, I mean, it sucks because we'll probably never get another Nic Cage and Nicholas Hoult combo. Because I feel like they were good for each other in this. I learned something about Renfield. He's a lawyer. That's how it is in the book. In Dracula, didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they say that in the film.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know
Oh.
he was a lawyer.
Yeah, I
Till
didn't.
the movie.
I guess I didn't. I never thought about it.
I didn't know how
His
Renfield got involved in
profession.
on that.
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
It.
that's cool. And even if we would have gotten just more Renfield, that would have been okay with me too. I mean, Nicholas Holt, is that his name? He's good. I like him. For some reason, the only thing that was like sticking out to me. So Renfield, I don't know him in a lot of films. I mean, I was reading he was in The Menu, but I didn't.
Yeah, he's the main. He was the main character in The Menu.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
I guess.
So, and then other movies he was in, but the one that stuck out to me was Warm Bodies, and we have recently seen that.
Mm-hmm.
And
another undead character.
Yeah, another undead character, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's almost meant to play that because he's so, he's got a vulnerability kind of look, and I think he played that shyness and that kind of character really well in Renfield. So even just getting more of him by himself would have been great.
Yeah.
Of course, the scenes with Dracula were, we've said it a million times, the best. But I think he had a great performance too.
Yeah, I like where Nicholas Holt is going with these semi-experimental kind of films.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't classify this as, your regular horror comedy schlock. It definitely tries to be what it is. It just, I think, gets a little messy with its storytelling.
Yeah.
So, I think performances are fine. I think the writing itself is really good in some places and fine in other places, but it's just like, I just feel like the vision here was a little maybe either forced or just not. The people in charge just didn't understand exactly what they had, like, in a bottle. They had some lightning in a bottle here. They really did, and it feels like there's such a little priority in the codependency thing that it feels like they didn't understand exactly what they had here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they didn't know the potential that this film could have been. I think they were too focused on some of the silliness and some of the gore. How can we get as much gore and blood out there as possible?
And some of it's fun, but it's so overdone that the gore is so overdone that it's just not even. It's not like Saw. Saw, like, there's like a kind of an anticipation kind of thing there, where they're playing the game, and they explode in a almost funny kind of way in Saw.
I think this gore was it was silly. It was silly. I think gore. When I think gore in gory films, I want to be, I don't want to be grossed out per se, which I don't get grossed out by gore, so I don't know if that would ever be possible. But I don't know. I want to see kind of the realism in it. And this gore was it was super silly. I mean, he snapped off two bodyguards' hands and started, like, karate chopping with these hands. And then
went a little farther.
Yeah, and I kind of like that silliness.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the film to be, Saw gore. It was the film to be stupid, silly.
Yeah, they owned that.
Didn't match, the Dracula story we wanted. But I was okay with it. I liked it. Yeah,
they definitely owned a lot of the angles they took here. I mean, they owned all the angles except the codependency. They actually they owned the love affair. They owned, Dracula's world domination, or what would become kind of the world domination.
I mean, yeah, they owned all the stupid, silly little things, like that guy getting splashed in the face with cocaine. And that joke he made about, get me a number 3 because I'm about to order a number 2, like whatever joke that was when he had to go take a poop.
Yeah.
That was funny. And I mean, there were a lot of silly things that I liked that just they kept throughout the whole film. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad you like this.
Like even the narcissistic book that had that sticker that it was handed out by that church, and Dracula sees it. He's like, "What?
That's awesome.
The church?
That's so good. And that's,
yeah,
and that's on such another fucking level than, the order in number 3
Yeah.
because the toilet disorder to number 2.
yeah,
But we can, you can have a balance of that too. But it just, when you watch this, man, there's just every 5 minutes in between, there's just 30 seconds of just so much potential. I feel like,
yes." It's like
just,
we watched 25 minutes of awesome, great film, and then the rest was just like, comedy horror, and not your classic kind of comedy horror,
it
but
reminds me of so
just-
much of Willy's Wonderland, man.
just your entertainment. I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is,
yeah,
and it's so sad, but it is what it is.
yeah. I was not a fan of probably 85% of it.
That's about how much was the two about, like, that's about how much it was split off between Dracula, Renfield, cool, awesome film, versus Renfield, what's her name, Rebecca, love, mafia, action movie. It's like 2 movies in one.
Sort of, yeah. Sort of. It reminded me also of, I don't know why, of Bad Boys 3. Does Bad Boys 3 take place in New Orleans?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Apparently Nic Cage shaved his teeth down to get those Dracula dentures to fit. He took one for the team permanently for this movie.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
That's so crazy.
And it hurts me because he has that kind of dedication and commitment and just artistry to make that kind of sacrifice for something that just doesn't meet him on that level.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. I am actually pretty surprised how disappointed I am by this film. I don't get disappointed by movies very often, or games or anything really. I'm usually pretty in line,
Dang, the trailer deceived you.
Yeah, that was too good.
Yeah.
That him walking in, and I kind of
Yeah.
expected it when the movie started. When it started rolling, I was duped.
When it started rolling.
Yeah, we were 15 minutes in and I knew I was duped.
But the beginning was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the old timey looking. Wasn't that the beginning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much when he immediately after, I guess it's basically, it starts to fall apart for me right when Renfield goes and tries to collect those thugs who stole, what's his name's cocaine? What's the son's name?
The Lobo, Ted Lobo.
Ted Lobo. That's where, that's probably 15 minutes in, right? When that happens.
Maybe
20 minutes in.
Yeah, okay.
It's only like an hour and a half long movie, I think. But that's immediately, that was it.
Where it fell for me, I guess I was more hopeful than you, was when
I just felt duped. When he brought
the flowers to the cop. And I was like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on?
Yep.
Excuse me? That was that kind of, I guess a duped point for me, as you call it. You got duped.
Well, I thought I was getting one thing and I got something else. That's what I mean by that.
I mean, you did.
You did. Yeah, the trailer, I don't know how many trailers were released. I only watched the one, I think, but I felt a little, if you just watch that, it's kind of hard to get anything else that happens in the movie.
I mean, everyone's thinking you're going to watch a Dracula. You're going to go see the movie to watch Nic Cage be Dracula. That's what everyone's expecting.
Well, Renfield too, yeah.
But but no, you're more excited for
that's
Nic
true.
Cage as
on
Dracula.
the ticket, you're thinking,
yes,
he's the when they signed Nic Cage, the team was probably like,
yes.
we're good, which they were, because he's kind of in a renaissance and a Cage-assance, right? Nic Cage-assance.
Mm-mm.
That's what they do with Brendan Fraser. What are they calling it?
Fraser eyes? Fraser fries?
I think they're doing his first name.
Oh.
Brendan Sons or something like that. Brendan Sons. I don't know. So
Okay.
they're trying to ship Renaissance and Brendan together.
Okay.
So he's got a little bit of the getting butts in the seats kind of energy right now after Mandy and probably Pig, and I feel like the one with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, the
Massive Talent.
that one. Yep.
So he's got that kind of weight now with him. Let's see what I did there. Got that weight.
I mean, yeah, I feel you.
What are some more things you liked about this movie? Tell me, please.
Like we talked about, or like I mentioned a little bit earlier, I liked a lot of the sets. And, we already talked about Dracula's lair. But I really liked Renfield's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they did that. It was all colorful, and those motivational posters killed me.
Funny.
Those are hilarious. I loved everything about his room, his clothing, how he changed from being all dark and suits to all these colorful, fun sweaters. I like that. That was pretty cute. And then another one of my favorite sets was in the beginning where he's beating up those guys that took the cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was some kind of like prop set. So I like that. I thought that was fun.
Did the score stick out to you? It didn't. I guess it didn't to me.
Yes, it did. Which I think I don't know if you want to call it a score, but when you have Lizzo and My Chemical Romance, this tells you what this movie is.
Lizzo and My Chemical Romance?
Yeah.
Were together?
Huh?
Or different songs?
Different songs. I think Lizzo was playing...
I didn't even realize that.
When was Lizzo playing?
I was in a daze in this movie, I guess.
You were in a daze?
I don't even know now.
I forgot when the Lizzo song was playing. But then you had My Chemical Romance, that Na 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 song. At the end, in the whole like montage of beating up, and we're going to the mafia house.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. Those are very drastic artists, which that's kind of what the film was. It's like makes
had
sure
a little bit of an identity crisis.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I like chaos.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you liked it. I enjoyed watching it. I had a decent enough time. Nic Cage is probably my favorite Dracula. He's not in it much, but he's probably my favorite Dracula. He's awesome. And he loved doing this role, obviously. He shaved his teeth down. Jesus.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that, he's basically got 3 roles he's always wanted to play.
Oh, and what are they?
It was, I don't remember the third one, man. But it was Superman.
Oh, yeah. He was going to do Superman.
Yeah. And Dracula. And there's a third one, which I forgot. I should have written that down.
That's funny. Yeah, there was going to be, there's all kind of, I think there's a feature-length documentary about the Superman that was being made under Tim Burton.
What?
Yep. And he looks awesome. It was going to be, I think, a darker, I guess that makes sense because Tim Burton did, his Batman movies. Those 2 Batman movies, and his next would have been Superman. I guess I can, see the fascination.
Yeah.
But I'm not, something went wrong with that production. I'm not sure whose fault it was. But yeah, I think there's a documentary about how that movie, how the premise came to be and how the production came to be, and then how it, just completely imploded on itself. It does like great images of Nic Cage dressed up as Superman and stuff, and it'd be very cool. It looks like it would have been something. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have liked it, but
yeah, I can't see Nic Cage being Superman. I just can't. His voice is not.
Yeah, the cadence of him. Yeah. His whole thing is so not Superman.
Yeah.
How would I? Same. that was probably part of the implosion, is trying to control Nic Cage, because I think Tim Burton is a really controlling director. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's really, really controlling.
Well, I know that, through YouTube Shorts, that Jenna Ortega talks about how controlling Tim Burton was. And
She did?
Yeah, she's mentioned a few times, especially with her aesthetic.
Yeah, I forgot about
and particularly her bangs in Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't even allowed to touch her bangs. So I mean, yeah, I could see that based off of that.
Yeah. You gotta appreciate Tim Burton on some level, because the aesthetic of a few of his movies is top notch. Whether you love Edward Scissorhands or Beetlejuice, he's got an eye for a style.
Yes,
for sure. I think he's lost that here in the last 15 years. I don't know if he's just taking checks or what, or just is not in it anymore, or maybe he's become a producer or something. I'm not sure, but with I don't even want to get started on Tim Burton. But, Dumbo and Miss Peregrine, and
that's a whole episode on itself.
And Alice in Wonderland, they're tough. His best of his second half of films is probably Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is actually pretty good, but
yeah.
It's also a copy and paste kind of movie, just kind of on the slant of Johnny Depp's, or Willy Wonka's kind of psychoticness instead, or never experiencing kind of childhood angle, I guess.
Yeah, that's a.
I'm super excited for the Wonka movie though.
Oh, me too.
Me too. Can't wait for that.
Isn't that in December? Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know.
Got a while.
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, and then I saw an interview with Nic Cage, and it was really short. There's not a lot out there on Renfield, but I saw an interview with Nick and Nick, and I think they have really good chemistry together.
That's good.
So they should have made more scenes.
I've heard Nic Cage is he brings something out in people. I've heard other people say that he just has an energy, which I feel like I could see, because he's a wild card, but he's apparently really cool. Yeah,
Nicholas Holt was talking about how he couldn't wait, because the interviewer asked if there were any days that they saw on their schedule that they were super excited for, or not so excited for, or whatever, maybe a tiring day or something. And Nicholas Holt talked about how, the scenes with Nic Cage, he was like, it just brings something out of you.
Yeah.
Acting with someone like him.
Yeah. Yeah, love or hate him. He's a lot like Jim Carrey in that way. Love or hate him, man. He's sort of a typecasted actor, because, he works on his own level, and he's kind of a similar character in a lot of his stuff, because he's got the same cadence, because he's unabashedly himself. Which is, its own philosophical discussion about acting, but man, working with that, puts a well, appreciated fire under your ass.
Yes, even the guy who plays Ted Lobo, doesn't have very many scenes with him.
Yeah, or movies probably. He didn't look like I don't know if he's in much.
Yeah, I didn't look into that, but he was just so amazed by Nic Cage, and he was like, wow. He's like, I am so lucky I got to experience
that's cool that people are seeing that, because he went through a little phase probably for 15 years that he just was a meme, which I hate, because you gotta see the right Nic Cage movie. He's got a lot of not very good movies, because he approaches filmmaking from the angle of the old tradition, where you are in just as much as possible, because it's not something you make millions of dollars off. It's a career, and you work towards it, and you provide a lot of pieces for your audience to enjoy.
Yeah,
that's why all of his favorite artists and directors are from the 50s and 60s, because they have they were in 50, 60, 70 movies, and he has this endless catalog to study and devour.
Yeah.
and chew on for his whole life. And so that's why he's in a lot of direct DVD movies, actually. It's because he wants to provide that for his fans, because, you know, that's, from his point of view, that's what he thinks an actor and of an artist of his profession should be doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's sick. I think that's just probably the most humble thing an actor could possibly do. I'm sure there's a couple other people like that. I imagine there probably aren't many, except the people who only work in that field, the direct-to-DVD kind of realm. I'm sure there's kind of dedicated people in that corner of filmmaking, but I think that's super cool because Nic Cage is one of the biggest names in Hollywood. Whether he's paid that way or not, I don't know, but Nic Cage is, mega famous.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the things that these actors talked about in this interview, which may or may not surprise you, is how nice he is. Like,
That's
how
good.
much of a just nice, loving human being he is.
Yeah.
And he doesn't make you feel, like he's not condescending. He's not mean. He's not entitled. They're just like, he's so nice.
That's awesome.
Which took me by surprise. Not because I think Nic Cage is a bad guy or a mean guy or anything, but it's just, I guess because of how little faith in humanity I have, it's always interesting.
Yeah.
When you hear someone in the acting,
especially someone
saying
so like him. Yeah, I would be afraid to meet him. You know how people say, like, you don't want to meet your heroes because it might take away the mysticism and stuff.
I've heard that.
You've heard that, like, there's some saying there. I've met a few people, and it does. I met
I don't. This might be bad, but I don't have heroes. I don't have.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. You need to work on that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I haven't met anyone enough.
I met Nick Yorling. He's a ceramics guy. He's one of my dudes, and
people are people.
He in a funny way, his chillness just took away his magic. So it goes both ways, I guess. Because if he was a dickhead, that would have had an impression too. But,
yeah.
Because it humanizes him when you see him and you meet him. So I think that alone just kind of destroys some of the mystique of some people.
I think because I think that's why I'm not able to get there with heroes or whatever. Like, you're people too. Come on.
Yeah. But I guess it's just, some people are just undeniably, kind of once in a generation kind of genius.
Yeah, I mean, there's not to say I don't appreciate a lot of people. I've told you about some of my favorite teachers, or teachers who've had, an influence on my life or whatever, my career, my education. So it's not a lack of appreciation or love, even. Yeah, but in that interview, they asked Nic Cage, what movie would you tell the audience to watch? Nicholas Holt's movies that he's been in.
Oh, okay.
Like, kind of took it that way. And he said The Menu. And then he goes on to say how The Menu was the best movie he had seen all year.
Oh.
So I thought that was interesting.
That's cool.
And now I'm like, well, I should have stayed up and watched it, but I fell asleep.
It's a slow burn movie. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. The Menu is probably in my top 5.
Okay.
Maybe 6 or 7. Top 6 or 7. I think I'd have to think about it. I can tell you my top 3 right away, but beyond that, I'd have to write it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 3 are our Banshees of Inisherin, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then I'd have to think about after that, because Bones and All, great. The Menu, great. See, that's 5. I can't think of another one. Triangle of Sadness was okay. There were some parts of Triangle of Sadness I liked a lot, but yeah, probably my top 5 then. That's cool. What did Nicholas Hoult say something about a Nic Cage movie?
No.
Oh.
No, that would have been an interesting question, but no. Then the interviewer just talks about how there's this old-timey photo going around of this man from
I've seen it.
Yeah, okay, and they're like, it's Nic Cage.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think it looks like him. And then it was kind of awkward because then the interviewer was like, do you agree with this? And Nic Cage kind of was like, I mean, no, not really. And then he talks to Nicholas Hoult. He's like, what do you think? Is he the real Dracula? And Nick Holt's just like awkwardly laughing. He's like,
That's weird as fuck. Who interviewed?
And then
what
yeah, I don't know. Some YouTube interview.
That's fucking weird.
And then Nicholas Hoult was wearing a red suit, and Nic Cage is like, well, he's the one wearing the red. You know, he's the one dressed up as blood over here. So it was funny. It was just so cringy.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of... He was just like, what are you asking me?
Yeah, these interview guys, man. They can be tough in their bad way.
He seemed nervous, so I didn't feel too bad.
Yeah, that's a funny thing, because...
I mean, I'd be nervous interviewing Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult.
You gotta ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Those questions are tough, too.
He's so, like, you know... He's a great actor, and he seems sophisticated in a lot of these things.
Other than buying his castles. He just bought a castle a few months ago.
Oh my gosh.
Or a year ago, whatever.
Yeah, and apparently he has a raven. No, a crow.
It delivers messages?
I think he said a crow, not a raven. Or he said a raven, not a crow. He said one or the other. He made it like very specific that it's not the other.
That's funny.
So I could believe he's got a castle.
He does have a castle.
That's pretty cool. I'd buy a castle if I could afford one.
Well, he can't afford it, so he has to take more movie roles. Which is good, because that means we're guaranteed some more Nic Cage,
That's true. He's got to pay off this castle.
I wonder what's next for Nic Cage.
They talked about...
He had that, earlier this year, he had that Western come out that I probably will not watch.
A Western?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Why not?
I think it's called The Old Ways. Why not? I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay, so it's Nicholas Hoult that's going to be in Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah.
2024.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think it's the Robert Eggers movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm liking this route of some of these guys are going, he's kind of going that Robert Pattinson route and that Daniel Radcliffe route. Hooking up these weird...
Your boy, Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. I wish he and Daniel Radcliffe were a little bit more into working with serious directors. So I like both of them a lot. Yeah, Robert Pattinson, he's gonna be and get some good stuff. I hate that he's doing another Batman, but
he's doing another Batman?
Yeah, I think this is it. It's just this one, the first and second one. Which is if that's the case, and if that ends up being the case, I can't say it yet, right? Until he says it again and he's moving on. I guess he can always go back, but if he does just do the two, I gotta appreciate that, because it's probably hard to walk away from that money, because I'm sure he's making a lot of money doing Batman.
I don't know. He's probably made enough money to last him 2 lifetimes with Twilight.
Yeah, probably 10 lifetimes if he was super smart with his money. But
that's true. I mean, he was into big franchises.
Franchises, yeah.
Yeah.
3, sort of.
What's the third one?
Harry Potter.
No, that's the second one. What's the other one?
Oh, Batman.
Oh, no, that's not a large franchise.
Oh, Batman's many times bigger than Twilight.
No. But him as Batman. That's what I mean.
Wait, what?
I mean, he's just... Never mind.
Wait, what?
I don't know where that thought was going. Yeah, I mean, Batman's big, but I don't think it's as big as, I don't know many Batman loving people.
What?
Just like 2.
What? Who?
You
don't gotta say him.
Just, relatives.
Relatives. I got you.
Ex-relatives.
Ex-relatives.
Yeah.
I got you.
And then it's the lame people, too, that like Batman, so maybe I'm just projecting here.
That's funny. Because I feel like the lamer people like Marvel stuff, and the cooler people like Batman. Although I will say...
No.
You're
a DC fan?
I'll walk this back a little. You're a little bit more of a nerd if you're in the DC, aren't you?
Yes.
Because
You're the annoying kind of nerd.
Because you're probably most likely into the comic books.
Yes.
And then on top of that, you have to sort through the shit and nonsense and figure out a way to appreciate these movies. You know, you got to deal, because at least Marvel, for the most part, with the exception of probably the last 2 years or so of films, they have a identity. They have a complete fleshed out identity of what these movies are, and you can't help but to appreciate that on some level.
Yeah.
You know, they know what they are, they deliver, or they were delivering over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, since, you know, Black Widow, I think, was the first of the shitstorm to come in.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I can only see that on the side, which is just so ironic. The CG gets worse. Like, the CG was, at points, was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really good. Especially, like, some suits and stuff. And, like, Endgame and before Endgame.
Yeah.
There's some great filmmaking there.
Are you saying something positive about Marvel?
Yeah, absolutely. There's some, and then the vision connecting these, you know, the writing is probably the weakest part in Marvel, you know, because when you just gotta,
it is.
What?
So there it is.
Yeah, well, because you have to, you know, you just have to accept it's, you know, they're operating basically in a video game. There's not a lot of real world, you know, things on camera, kind of like Avatar, the recent Avatar movie. If that bothers you and you can just never get past that, it's just, you know, they're just not for you. But if you can get past that, which I can, you know, I like Avatar.
Yeah.
I like some of the Marvel movies enough. Like, there's a funny thing. We're getting way off topic here.
Way off topic.
But this is fine. All right. We're going to have an audience one day and they're going to appreciate our diatribes and tangents.
Yeah, that's what's gonna help them decide who they like better.
That's true. Thor, probably the coolest character at his core, but they never go that extra mile with his unworthiness and like him feeling unworthy, which makes him unworthy. It's just like this like cycle of, it's like this very human cycle of just imposter syndrome mixed with depression, and like just, you know, and they embrace it a little bit with, you know, whatever movie, you know, they basically made him look like Lebowski from The Big Lebowski, Jeff Lebowski.
Oh yeah, Endgame.
Was that Endgame? Which is awesome, but they just don't take it that extra mile, which they, because of their identity, they can't. You know, they're kind of shackled to a very specific vision, which I appreciate the hell out of. But I think it'd also be cool, kind of like what they're doing with Star Wars. They're letting different directors and writers kind of have fun with the tone of the movies and shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could work really well for Marvel. But I don't know. It's a risk. That's a risk.
Yeah.
Because then when you do the Endgame type stuff and the crossover movies, they kind of have an identity struggle. So
yeah,
they will. So.
Yeah, like the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. Those progress in a really interesting way, but they also start to flatline in the worst fucking way possible. Because there's like, oh my god, go on and on about Harry Potter. There's so many good things about Harry Potter. Those first 2 movies. Those first 3 movies. Especially the first movie and the third movie. They're not masterpieces by any stretch of the imagination, but they are just they're so good. They're so good. If we could just get more, that could be, that's what I'm saying. If that kind of stuff could just be the baseline, you know, the love and care that happens in that kind of space. And we see some of that in Marvel. And we see some of that in Renfield, especially with like the production design and stuff. Oh, speaking of Renfield, back on topic. This movie took place in New Orleans. Where were the New Orleans accents?
Seriously?
Why was I able to understand everybody? Was that good?
Yeah. No, for real. I didn't even think about it until you pointed it out, and I started paying attention. And I was like, I mean, it makes sense for Dracula and Renfield not to have accents.
Of course. Okay.
But the other people, like, what? Yeah.
Especially like the mob. The mob that's been there probably since the 1900s, but probably through the 1800s probably. Since the Louisiana Purchase. Probably not since then, but
That's funny. But yeah, you talk about the editing, or you started talking about the editing. I don't know.
Yeah,
if we covered
man,
it.
the editing, especially during the fight scenes, this is when
Yes.
editing is really put on its,
To the test.
put to the test. And this editing was put on its hind legs. It was really on its heels, man. It was getting knocked around a little bit during the fight scenes, right? And it just,
Yes.
it runs into like that Transformers thing. It's just like, I don't fucking know what's going on here. It's just chaotic for chaotic's sake, which they owned it. Every fight scene was fucking nuts. And okay, they're kind of fun and stuff and silly. They really do become stupid in a good way, Oh my god. Did you hear about the criteria to become nominated for the Oscars? To be eligible to be nominated for the Oscars?
No, I didn't know there was a criteria.
I have to send it to you. They are requiring nominees to meet a criteria of diversity. And that comes in the form of...
Oh my god.
It comes in the form of, sexual orientation, race, nationality, every identity you possibly could have, every slant you could have, and you have to meet 2 of the 4 criteria. I can't tell you exactly what they are, because I don't remember them. And I was just... Apparently Richard Dreyfuss is going off the deep end, who is...
Who?
Richard Dreyfuss?
Richard Dreyfuss.
You know the name?
Richard Dreyfuss. Nope.
It's Brody from Jaws.
I don't know people's names.
Wait, is that Brody or is that Hooper? Shit, I can't remember now. It's one of them.
Okay.
I think it's Brody. He's going off the deep end, saying how stupid it is, which is... I thought... So when I opened it up, the page, I was like, okay. I was like, does this mean... Because I saw the thumbnail. I saw the buzzy title or whatever. And Richard, I don't know Richard Dreyfuss' beliefs. Maybe he's just fucking hates Chinese people or something. I don't know. Or Russians. I thought they were just gonna, in some capacity, with maybe opening new categories or whatever. The kind of dream I've always had about the Oscars, where we do have specific categories for regions of the world, maybe countries, whatever it is. We have a Russian category, we have a Japanese category, we have a Korean category, and then there's the overall category type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that's
where they
I thought my dreams were about to come true. I thought we were about to have some real diversity. Instead, we're gonna shoe in every gay, trans, colorblind, black, American, Asian, Irish, German, I don't know.
Well,
everything you can think of now in movies.
Peter Pan and Wendy is about to fucking win the Oscars.
Peter Pan, yeah.
They had every race, boys and girls. I'm sure some of them were gays, some of them were lesbians.
Yeah, Peter Pan's...
You have old people, you have young people.
Young and old.
You have that,
Shit, you're right.
Mentally disabled kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you got it all.
We got a Oscar winner.
Yeah. Prediction right here. If that's the...
Probably for best movie, too. Damn. David Lowery, they like him, right?
There you go.
I don't know if he's black or white.
If he's white, he's fucked.
And I think that includes directors and cinematographers.
Oh my
and stuff
gosh.
Too. It's a little there. It affects the behind the scenes stuff even so. But I guess maybe Jordan Peele will finally get his chance. I don't know how he hasn't gotten something. Out of all the movies that get nominated every year, how has... Us is not super great, but Get Out and Nope especially. Nope is awesome.
Yep.
How did it not get nominated for anything? I don't know.
And people like the actors in Nope. They love them.
Yeah.
So that's... RRR didn't get nominated, so...
Yeah, and now RRR, those kind of movies might get their break too, though. Because I guess that will open it up nationally a little more. Which is maybe the bright side of this. But
we'll have a lot more stupidity in casting.
Maybe because I wonder
storytelling.
I wonder what, because they opened this up, are all these, I don't know, the Academy Award members or whatever, is it then gonna be realized they're gonna have no excuse at that point but to include all these other great movies from around the world, or are they gonna pander to
the Peter Pan and Wendy's.
The Peter Pan, the Disneys and Paramounts and the MGMs of the world?
I have a feeling it's gonna go that way.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it a sign of? Is it another sign of the Oscars being on the chopping block?
I hope so.
I don't know. That'd be crazy if that, because it's pretty long-standing institution of the world.
Yeah,
almost 100 years.
What was the one we watched? Like the 95th or something?
Yeah, something like that. Not too far out from 100. It's nuts. That's nuts. That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome, but it just sucks that it's leaning into this. It's like it's voluntarily leaning into it. It's weird. It's weird. The diversity for diversity's sake, I never would have thought it actually held some water, but it's taken over in some ways.
Yeah. And we saw it, trickle in.
Yeah.
With some movies like, Ender's Game.
Yeah, probably for
like in Ender's Game, how they included both boys and girls in Battle School, and it was just really all boys except Petra. So, it's always kind of been trickling in, but now I think it's going to get to the point where it's just not even part of the story or not even part of the character, or it's just going to be forced, where it just doesn't make sense to have.
Yeah, whatever
they are. Yeah,
like Peter Pan. I mean, it kind of defeated. I mean, we'll go back on Peter Pan.
Yeah, good.
Well, thank you for watching Renfield with me. I enjoyed Renfield. I was disappointed, but I enjoyed Renfield.
That's good.
Yep, I liked it well enough. I would, totally recommend Renfield to whoever was like, "Should I watch Renfield?" I'd be like, "Oh yeah, Renfield, definitely worth a watch." Definitely. There's too many good parts, and there's too much. I've experienced that potential. Now you need the fucking experience. It's not there. Let's spread that shit so we can get that movie. That movie can still be made,
That's
it won't have Nic Cage or Nicholas Hoult in it probably, but that movie can still be made. I never thought about that being the angle of Dracula and Renfield that we need.
Yeah.
But that is something we need now, is a hyper, dramatic telling of Renfield's codependency. And,
yes.
Him struggling with that.
Yes.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. I'm all
or
for
even
that.
Some other monster. I can't think of one right now, but I'm sure there's one.
Yeah.
The door's open.
I can't wait for Nosferatu. Robert Egger, that's definitely my most anticipated movie next year. I can already tell you right now.
Next year. Wow.
I know, right?
Shit.
Nosferatu. Yeah, I think his movie after that's called The Night.
Whose movie?
Robert Egger.
His movie after Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's going to complete the Northeastern trilogy. Or what's he calling it? Yeah, The Witch, The Northman, and The Night. That's a trilogy of movies that are unrelated to each other, but there's a kind of an overarching theme there that he's thought about. I can't remember though.
Okay.
Looking forward to that. Nosferatu. Is he gonna be Nosferatu? Probably not.
Who?
We need an older guy for that. Nicholas Hoult. You know
I
who
don't
needs to be Nosferatu?
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
Who?
William Dafoe. Oh, William Dafoe is in it.
Yeah, he is in it.
It says here that Bill Skarsgård's gonna be the Nosferatu character.
Who is that?
He played Pennywise.
Oh, I like that.
I like that. Anna Taylor-Joy is apparently involved.
I don't know about that.
He likes her. She's in the Northman, his movie. She's also in The Witch, his movie. He likes her. Yeah, his name's Count Orlok, the Nosferatu guy.
Oh, that's why I skipped over him.
That's funny. Yeah, and then Professor Alla, whatever.
Yeah, that's William Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe, that's what's up. you have any final thoughts? Any more good things to tell me about this movie? I kind of just complained about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I liked it. It was entertaining. I did see its potential, and I'm kind of sad too that the potential wasn't grasped as it should have.
You just made me think. This is one of the things I struggle with. I can't just be entertained, full stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry that you can't just be entertained. And I'm so sorry you also can't be scared.
Oh, man. I'd much rather have the ability to be scared by movies and stuff than entertainment. To be entertained, yeah. I wish. Oh, my God, that'd be awesome if I could get that back. There was a time. It's been
when you were like 4.
It's been many years, yeah.
And I still can't go to the bathroom by myself when I watch a scary movie.
Envious. I'm so envious.
But I liked it. It was fun.
It's good.
Yes, miss out on the potential, but it was still fun. It was still that comedic horror. Kinda, like you said, it was not exactly.
Yeah, a little bit of an identity crisis.
Yes,
but
throw in action in there, throw in some other stuff in there, romance maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely the weird angle.
Definitely the weird angle. But if you are into chaotic, entertaining movies that have some awesome scenes with Nic Cage. If you're a Nic Cage fan, you have to watch it at least.
That's true. Yeah, that's really true, yeah.
But, yeah, I'd recommend it to the right person. I wouldn't say this is a film that everybody needs to go see, because I do think it is too much, too chaotic, that a lot of people would not enjoy it.
Yeah,
and then...
I think my mom will enjoy this, but I don't think Richard would like it that much. But,
Yeah. But, I mean, overall, I don't know what score I'd give it, honestly. I'd have to think about the score.
Yeah, it lives in a 1.5 area for me. It makes me feel very similar to, like, Uncharted, There's, like, a lot of fun to have.
It was better than Uncharted.
Better than Uncharted?
Yes. So...
Yeah, I think the highs in this were much, much, much higher than Uncharted.
Yeah,
and
maybe
then the
that's
lows
why.
were probably similar, so it feels better than Uncharted.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat a Dracula Nic Cage. Who would have thought that was just a match made in heaven, man, or in hell, I should say.
I mean, dude's already got his teeth shaven down, so someone needs to give him some another opportunity here. You know what I'm saying?
As Dracula.
As Dracula, yeah.
That'd be awesome if he played another Dracula. That would be funny stuff.
No one would be mad.
No.
So
I feel like if anyone would do that, Nic Cage would do that.
Yep.
Did you find the other role that he wants to do?
No, I'm gonna try to find it.
Okay.
And maybe mention it next.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmsteins. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon at patreon.com/Filmsteins. And follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmsteins signing off.